Clarity on Fire, a podcast for people who know what they don't want out of their life and career, but aren't sure what they'd rather be doing.
In a world where it's easy to exist, but hard to feel alive, we, Kristen
and Rachel,
2 certified life and career coaches, are here to help you cut through the information overload, get unstuck, and focus not just on how you can have a career you're passionate about, but how to create a whole life that feels fulfilling.
So join us here, where we serve up inspiration and down-to-earth wisdom in a way that only 2 best friends can.
We want you to experience the relief of knowing that, yes, you're allowed to want more out of your life and career.
And no, you don't have to wander through the dark anymore. Our job is to light the fire that shows you the way. Let's go.
I haven't been so excited to do an episode in a long time.
This one's going to be kind of fun. It's going to be more interactive.
This is going to be an anger infomercial. We are not just going to talk. We are going to demonstrate, and you're going to have to use your imagination to visualize. I think we're going to give you plenty of fodder for visualization.
Yes.
We're going to demonstrate a number of ways that you can be angry and get your anger out.
And we're not going to, we're not going to just talk about it.
We're going to actually
We're going to show you how to do it.
Demonstrate auditorially. Auditorially?
I don't
That's
know if
not
that's
quite
a word,
right.
But in
Whatever.
an auditory fashion.
Sure. But before we do that, why are we talking about this? Because people have a very, very, very skewed relationship with anger. We actually talked a little bit about this when we had our book club episode last month, when we were reading I'm Still Here by Austin Channing Brown. Obviously, that book is about race, but she talks about anger in it. And I really recommend that if you have issues with anger, like if you have trouble expressing anger, that you listen to that, because you'll learn so much about everything, but you'll also learn about that. People really, really, really struggle to feel like they're allowed to, at least people that I've coached struggle to be angry, to let themselves be angry.
Oftentimes people are afraid of anger. They're afraid of their own anger.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid of other people being angry at them.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid of other people being angry in general, even if it's not at them. It feels like a very volatile, overwhelming, scary emotion for a lot of people.
Yes.
And so what they'll often do is just avoid it. Just pretend that they don't feel it, try to smooth it on over, try to stuff it down. And that often leads to all kind of insidious side effects, because anger is not always a bad thing. That's what we're going to get into today. Anger can actually be a really healthy, healing thing. And so expressing it is important, but you first have to give yourself permission to feel it.
The reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it's directly related to people pleasing. And today is the first day that our once a year course, Getting Over People Pleasing, is open for enrollment. So between now and next Friday, it's going to only be open for a week. We're going to get started the following Monday, the 31st. You can sign up to join us. It's like it's a 1-month thing. Every week we release a new lesson, and it's to get you from the place where you feel like, I don't know who I am and what I want. I feel like I can't prioritize myself. I feel like I can't express myself. I have a really hard time saying what I think, or what or sharing how I feel, or being vulnerable. And anger scares me. And or I might be channeling my anger in ways I don't realize. I might be passive aggressive. I might be harboring unspoken resentment.
Oh, yeah.
And all of that is getting in the way of me having good connections with people, asking for help, feeling like I'm able to actually explore who I am and what I want.
You guys, I'm not talking about this from a theoretical perspective. I am talking about this from a very, very personal perspective. Rachel will tell you she has been someone who hasn't really had a huge problem expressing anger most of her life.
Or people pleasing.
Yeah.
But I have had some select encounters with certain people who really triggered me.
That. Yep. Yeah. Kristen, over here, hello. Huge people pleaser my whole life. And I know the discomfort of anger. I used to think I was like above anger or something, almost like
you were
righteous about it.
Now about it.
And that's because it scared me. Honestly, it just scared the crap out of me. And so
what scared you about it? Let's start there.
Yeah, okay.
We'll talk more about getting over people pleasing at the end, but I wanted to at least remind you it's open for enrollment. It's a very low maintenance, kind of inexpensive thing for you to join us and do.
It's group-oriented. It's action-oriented. You're going to start doing things to actually start overcoming people-pleasing. It's not just theoretical, I promise.
I'm also going to make an executive decision right now. And if I change my mind, the magic of editing will change all of this. But I want to do what we did during the pandemic. And I want to give people a chance to do a single session. If they want to add a single session to getting over people-pleasing, we're going to let them do that at a much lower cost than you would normally pay for a single session. Obviously, we don't actually let people do single sessions normally. So we're going to add that on as an option again. So if you want to do getting over people-pleasing and a session, that will also be an option that you can upgrade to when you check out.
Yeah, I like that. I like that we're doing this because people-pleasing is one of those things that you really need some support in getting over it. Yeah. You really need some help. It's scary. And so we want to be able to do a one-on-one conversation with you to keep your progress going and make sure you don't freak yourself out too much, because you can do that.
Yeah. So
you asked me a good question.
What scared you about anger?
What scared me about anger?
What scares you? It's current. It's not just past.
Sure. Oh, yeah. No, the fear is still there. I've just learned some ways of coping that I didn't know when I was younger. That's the thing about people pleasing. It doesn't really go away. It just
gets a little bit more, the volume gets turned down on it.
You respond in a healthier way.
Takes longer to get you to the point where you're that triggered or that kind of uncomfortable.
Exactly. Or even if you are, you can
work through it.
Push through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What scared me about anger is that it feels very unpredictable. It feels like anger could lead to some disastrous outcome. Like, that might be, if someone's mad at you, then that might be like the end of the relationship. Or if someone is angry in general, like something bad or scary might happen, because there's something about like being in a rage that feels very different than like sadness. Sadness doesn't feel scary. It just feels heavy.
Yes.
Anger feels scary and unpredictable.
Sure, it can be.
And when you are built as a people pleaser and the thing you want the most is to be liked and accepted and belonging.
Harmony.
Then anger feels like the opposite of harmony. And in that moment,
the opposite of everyone getting along and liking each other.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's the thing that you fear the most when you're a people pleaser, is that kind of disharmony, and you don't know what's going to happen at the end of it. It feels like this could be the end. This, the sky is falling.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also it's just, even if, I think a lot of people might not even have that conscious thought. They might not even literally be thinking, oh my God, my relationship is about to end. They might be physically reacting as if that's true without consciously realizing it. It puts people in a fight or flight mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anger is fight. And so what it will do to a lot of people is it will put them in flight.
Yes.
Or freeze.
Yes.
Right?
Well, there's 4.
Fawn.
That's actually a really common one for people pleasers. So, fight or flight. Everyone knows that one. Freeze, like the deer in the headlights. You just kind of go blank. That happens to me sometimes in anger.
Not even in anger, just in confrontation, which is different than anger.
True. That's true. Fawn is, let me be extra nice and extra sweet and extra loving so that person who's mad at me.
It's like when your dog tries to cuddle up with you when your dog knows that it's mad at you or you're mad at it. Because
right. It
ate
in
your
the house
trash or
it ate your shoes, and you scold it and it like sulks up to you and is like
kind of
puts its little head on your knee. Yeah. Like, I'm so sorry, love me. That's what fawn is.
Yeah.
People pleasers probably have done that one.
Yep. Right. It's trying to diffuse tension through being extra nice and fawning over somebody.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know about anger now?
I never would have believed this many years ago, but I have seen it happen enough times that I do truly believe that anger can lead to deeper connection on the other side.
Totally. Why?
Because you get to the heart of the thing. When you get to the heart of the thing and both people are just like honest, and even if that means they're angry, you get to, on the other side, it's like this diffusion of tension. So leading up to anger, there's often misunderstanding, or there's often boundaries being crossed or values being stepped on, or whatever it is that's causing the anger. There's this like tension that builds up. Sometimes the anger is the release of the tension. On the other side, it actually feels a lot better and more connected.
Mm-hmm.
I would not have believed that if I hadn't experienced it many times over. I still don't like it. Don't get me wrong. But I understand the value of expressing anger. And I've also recognized when I express my own anger, not just being okay with other people's anger, but being okay with my own anger. I used to be so passive aggressive and just
It was the worst. It was quite literally the worst.
It's so gross, isn't it? I don't know. So off-putting.
I really don't know how I stayed friends with you. I mean, I wasn't a peach either, but like I just personally really hate passive aggressiveness. So.
Who doesn't though? It's really gross.
It is.
And
it's so manipulative. You know, at least when someone's just straight up angry, they're not actually trying to manipulate you. There's something a little bit more honest.
I mean, I think you can be angry and manipulating.
Sure, but there's something very manipulative about passive aggression.
Yes. And I have to say, that's not where I go at all anymore, because I can express my anger long before it reaches that point.
Yeah.
And so now I'm as gross about it as anyone else.
Yeah. So getting mad about something, anger is, to me, there's a couple of things. One, it's just a sign that some sort of need hasn't gotten met, or some sort of boundary or value has been stepped on or violated.
Mm-hmm.
So anger, like any other emotion, is a natural response to something that's going on in your world, internally or externally.
Mm-hmm.
So to try not to feel it is a denial of an experience a legitimate experience that you're having that deserves attention. Now, it may not deserve a conversation. It may not need like a confrontation. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it's just a normal reaction you're having to someone who annoyed you, or someone who, you know, you're interpreting through a certain light. And maybe you're right or maybe you're wrong, but it's a natural experience that you're having. It's a normal emotion. And so emotions to me are just evidence of, okay, well, what is that telling me about how I'm feeling today, or what my needs might be?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just evidence that deserves further investigation.
Yes. And just like all emotions, anger can be expressed in healthy ways and also in destructive ways. And one of the things that we want to share today is a lot of different strategies for processing anger in a healthier way, so it doesn't feel like it just eats away at you. Because
Before you ever even talk to another person.
Exactly.
How to process it on your own.
Exactly.
Because like you said earlier, if you're not comfortable with your own anger or in touch with your own anger, you're not going to be very comfortable with other people's anger.
Mm-hmm.
And like you also said, if you cannot get angry and allow someone else to be angry, you will often never, ever have a breakthrough in a relationship or in a situation, because you will never be willing to go through the heart of the problem and get out the other side. What will happen is you will shut down before you reach the point of transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you won't be willing to get uncomfortable enough to change or to sit down and have a really difficult conversation because you're so uncomfortable that you just won't do it.
Exactly. So you end up tolerating a lot of things that aren't right for you.
Which then makes your anger fester and simmer under the surface.
And that's where the passive aggressiveness and resentment comes through. Where I know a lot of people, and I would have identified this way as well, who are like, I just don't really feel anger. I'm not
bullshit. Everyone feels angry. Just like everyone feels sadness.
Yes.
Everyone feels joy. Everyone feels annoyance and impatience and flustered, like anxiety. Everyone experiences all of these things at some point. It is
Are you a
bullshit
human?
that you're
you
not
feel
feeling,
anger.
Yeah.
You can't avoid it.
Yes.
People are going to step over your boundaries. People are going to piss you off. That's just normal.
If you think you're not feeling angry, we have a problem.
Well,
that needs to be addressed.
I have been there, or I've known people who are like, I rarely ever get angry. I'm like, there's something to look into there. So what we're talking about here is, let's first and foremost get you comfortable with your own anger. And instead of asking you to just sit there and just be angry and not know what to do with it, we're going to give you some things to do with your anger, because it's like a welling up of feeling in your body.
Yeah.
And it needs a release. Just like when you get really, really sad, you need to cry.
Yeah.
That's a release of your sadness. You need a release for anger as well.
Yeah.
But I also
angry cry sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I think that it's more obvious, like, oh, tears are the way that we release feelings, specifically sad, though it can be happy tears, can be angry, rage tears. But it's not quite as, there isn't like a physical thing that happens. It's not like steam literally blows out of our ears when we're angry
Right.
in order to literally take the pressure off and release the energy. So we need to be more conscious about doing that so that we're not letting things build up and get crusty.
And also so that you're not spewing your anger in unhealthy ways, because sometimes you don't need to just spew it all over someone
that would be my problem.
until you process it yourself.
Yeah.
And then you can communicate it better. So I know everyone listening knows someone who's just an angry person.
They're just trigger happy and
Everything gets under their skin. They're complaining. They're angry. They're kind of bitching all the time.
irritable.
That's not a healthy expression of your anger. That's anger that's just taken over.
That's the definition of an unhealthy relationship with anger, because it means they're not processing it.
Exactly. So it's just spewing out all over the place, all over everyone.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah. So I think the people who do get angry, they're just afraid of it, will like this. But I'm kind of curious. I don't have an answer to this, but I want to talk about it for a second before we move on to our demonstration. What about the people who just feel kind of numb and they don't think they experience anger? Like, how do we identify anger as anger when you've maybe been so shut down to it that you haven't been willing to identify it for what it is? I think I have some ideas I can start with.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think sometimes anger gets channeled as frustration, as judgment of other people. So if you're judgy, as complaining, irritability, just not, you don't feel like you're angry, but you feel kind of like easily irritable.
Mhm.
Like things just kind of get under your skin and bother you. Like you're easily bothered by people. That would be an expression of anger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say if you've been feeling pretty numb lately, then the reason Rachel's using those types of words, annoyance, frustration, judgment, is because they're like the muted versions. They're still there. You can't make anger go away entirely.
They're less
you can't
scary.
disappear it.
Like irritability is less scary than anger.
Right.
Right.
And if you're kind of burnt out and you're just kind of in a bit of a fog of not much emotion at all, then that's kind of taking the edge off of pure anger. And it's just this low grade frustration. But that's just a sign there's something there. There's something underneath of that. And your numbness is actually probably trying to protect you from feeling it fully.
Yeah.
But the truth is that you're still feeling it. Now you just are going to feel frustrated for a long, stretched out period of time versus a small burst of anger where you could process it and move through it.
It's like a flat line versus a peak.
So it thinks it's protecting you, but really it's just prolonging the discomfort.
Yeah, and the irritability and the frustration.
Yep.
So, okay. Are you ready for this is our anger infomercial. I'm so happy to be doing this because I love to get mad.
You do. I mean, you have a whole section on this podcast called Rachel Rants.
Love getting mad. Okay, here's why I like getting mad. From someone who doesn't have any problem being angry and actually had anger issues. Like has had to scale it back with the anger and the irritability and the frustration, because I identify with any form of anger. It's a really great release if you'll let it be. Like getting righteous about something is so much more, it feels so much better than being sad. And I think that I like anger probably because my natural inclination is actually to be sad.
And this is a protection from the sadness because there's more energy.
It's a step up from the sadness.
That's what I mean. It's like you could just devolve into sadness, or you could almost like armor yourself in a healthy way.
It has more
by channeling.
Get up and go. It has more fire under your butt. Right? Anger can be more productive in a way.
There's more motivation behind it versus just sadness or depression.
Yes. I actually think it's kind of an antidote to my natural sort of type 4 tendency to wallow.
That makes sense.
So I like it for that reason, because when you're mad, you're like, I'm gonna show that person, or I'm gonna do that thing. And maybe I do think it's actually a little bit more of like a slightly more healthy reaction at times than misery or lethargy, right?
It
or
is,
apathy.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we've got, let's first talk about the things that don't require physical demonstration. Okay. So we've got a couple of things on the list for getting anger out. So all of these are things you do on your own. I'm actually going to suggest two different approaches. One is you're doing it because you do feel anger or some demented cousin or distorted, sad little pathetic, like a
Version
little
of it.
irritability as opposed to just pure rage. Whatever version you're experiencing, if you're feeling passive aggressive, if you're feeling resentful, if you're feeling frustrated, then you're going to know it and then you can use this. And then once you get it out, you might feel totally better and you might not need to do anything else about it. It might just be out. Just like crying can release feelings. You don't even realize why you're having it. Really good point to make. You don't need to know why you're angry sometimes. Sometimes it just you don't need to know why you're having any emotional experience. You can just feel angry sometimes and let it out and then move on. And if there's something there that you need to address, don't worry. It will stay there until you get to the root of what's really going on. But sometimes you're just mad because you got up on the wrong side of the bed and
you're just cranky that day.
And you can't always understand why you're having the emotional experience you're having. And that's not the rule. You don't need to get to the root of why you're feeling it. Sometimes, so 2 versions. One is the people who are feeling it and they know they need to get it out. And then we're going to figure out what we need, if anything, to do about it later. We're just going to get it out first. The other version is people who feel like they're struggling to access anger. I actually think this might be a really good exercise for you to actually stimulate anger. I don't really feel it, but I feel like I could use the exercise of getting emotions out, even if it's not anger. Try it. Just try to see what happens when you kind of play act any of these things. Because you might actually start to get angry because you kind of revved the engine and you might then kind of get on a roll. And it might feel good to just get energy out. We don't even have to call it anger, Yep. It might just be emotions that you're getting out.
And for some of you who are well, if I'm not feeling angry, why would I want to stimulate anger out of the blue? Well, there's value. If you have historically been afraid of anger, there's value in kind of triggering it within yourself, expressing it, and then realizing nothing bad happened.
That's true.
And desensitizing your fear a little bit by having anger come up, move through you, and then you go on with your life and you're fine.
Right. But
all of a sudden it's way less scary.
It's also why I'm telling people you can do these things without even necessarily feeling angry. If you just have some emotions you need to get out and you feel like you're having a complicated emotional experience and you don't even know that it's anger, just try doing this because any of these things will help get emotions out, not just anger.
Very true.
Yeah. So I think that might be a way for them to ease into the experience of just expressing themselves emotionally, which is something you had problems with too, not just anger. It was expressing yourself, period, was a hard thing.
When you suppress certain emotions, you end up suppressing.
Well, that's what Brene Brown says, right? You can't selectively numb emotions.
Exactly.
You numb the whole range if you're trying to numb one of them.
Yep.
So, okay. One of the things that doesn't require demonstration is writing it out, journaling it. You could also rant it out to yourself. You could record yourself on a voice note. You could write it out.
Yep.
Pretty simple.
In fact, sometimes what helps when you're really, really angry or really frustrated is to physically write it out because I know you are going to be more likely to type. And I've gotten to the point where I'm physically writing and by the end, it's just a scrawl. It's not even words. It's just but it feels so good to just get words out, but in this jagged kind of written way. I recommend it.
Sometimes I'll pull up a Word document and I'll write in all caps.
Oh, that's good.
I'm shouting into this Word document. Exactly. Mother effer. And just it's 4 pages of just all caps.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I haven't done that in a while. I really like doing that. I need to do that again. What is one of the other ones that doesn't require demonstration?
Another one that it's hard for us to demonstrate, but physical exercise.
Oh, right. Run it out, bike it out, sweat it out, basically. Yep. Just sweat it out.
My boyfriend calls it running the hate out. He's like, I got to go run the hate out. It's frustrating day. I did this after a breakup. I took a bunch of kickboxing classes, body combat, where you're punching stuff and kicking stuff. Not anything in particular, just the air. But the physical movement of that helps move emotion through your body. So I definitely recommend physical exercise, whatever kind you prefer.
But a kind that isn't necessarily gentle. I think it's
I don't know that yoga's going to do it for you.
I think it's got to be fast moving enough and sweaty enough. It's got to be cardio. I mean, strength, I guess weights could do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But something difficult that really is pumping up your heart rate, or I guess, your endurance or something.
Feel like cardio to me. They get my heart rate going, but that's because I'm weak.
Yeah. But, another one is you can listen to a playlist that really gets you in a certain vibe, and you can kind of
Like an angry playlist.
Yeah. One of my brother's favorite songs to listen to before he played Division I lacrosse in college was Eminem's Lose Yourself, which is the best. If you want to pump yourself up and like kind of get a little mad, but kind of get a little righteous and feel like you're the best, that's one of the best songs. I love that song.
You also made a lot of fun of me once because I was feeling really angry, and
you listened to Pink?
And I listened to like a whole Pink album.
Well, Pink is great at anger.
She's good at anger.
Very good at anger.
And it was a little silly, but it felt great.
No, sometimes no. Like I didn't even thought of that until we started recording. But I think getting like an angry playlist and just listening to it, maybe while you work out, bonus is really good. Okay. Do you want to do it with our physical demonstrations?
Yes.
Okay. So speaking of kickboxing, I'm actually going to put a timer on for this.
Okay.
Because I don't want you to just do it for a second. I want to like drag it out a little bit. So we are going to put a timer on for 30 seconds. And Kristen is going to punch a pillow for 30 seconds.
Actually, I have a spatula. I'm going to beat a pillow.
Okay.
With a spatula.
Okay. But I also want to punch things too.
Okay.
We can do both of those. So we could punch or we could beat. I think there's slightly different vibes.
They are slightly different vibes.
But why? We'll just do one. I mean, you kind of get the idea. You hold up a pill. Have someone. You don't have to have someone hold it up. You could.
Maybe I'll do a combination. Maybe I'll kind of beat and punch at the same time.
Just don't knock over our podcasting equipment while you're doing this.
I know. This
Maybe stand up so that you're. They're gonna hear you doing it. Okay, because it's right next to the microphone. Okay, so
30 seconds.
Yeah, so Kristen, just to give you the vibe, she's standing up. She has a spatula. It's wooden with a plastic tip.
Yeah, a big old pillow here that I'm going to beat with it.
Yes, I'm going to sleep on that pillow tonight. I probably need to like cleanse it of its energy. Oh my God, I almost set this for 30 minutes, not 30 seconds.
I don't have the arm power for that.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Okay, ready, set, go.
Yeah.
I really feel like you should be dropping some choice expletives right now. It has literally been 10 seconds.
No.
You have to keep going. My poor pillow. No, you're almost knocking it off the...
You guys, this is exhausting.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You actually stopped with like 1, 2 seconds left.
Okay. The reason I love this is because you get so much anger and emotion out, and like 30 seconds later, you can't even do it anymore.
No, you
exhausting.
You couldn't have done that for a minute.
Not the 30 minutes that you originally tried to set me for.
Well, certainly not even 1 minute.
No. So it's a really, really quick way of getting a really big burst of emotion out.
Okay.
And as you heard, you start laughing at yourself.
Yes.
So I've done this when I was legitimately mad. I would get like a dog toy or like a wooden spoon, just beat a pillow.
Yes.
And about 10, 15 seconds in, you're cracking up at yourself. Because it's so
hard.
silly.
It looks dumb.
And it feels silly, but it also really actually feels good.
Okay. I'm going to set this one for 20 seconds because I think it's going to be ridiculous. Also, I don't want my neighbors to complain, but we're going to stomp and throw a tantrum for 20 seconds.
Yeah, like toddler style.
Yeah, so toddler style, you could stomp. You could also just roll around on the floor if you wanted to, like
Sure.
like a toddler in a grocery store.
Just melting down.
Okay, we're both going to do this one. Okay. Are you ready?
I put my water up here so I don't knock it over.
Please don't knock your water over. Okay, ready, set, go. God damn stupid ass thing that I hate more than anything in the whole world. I hate it. I don't want to do it. I never want to do it again. I never, ever, 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 ever want to do that. Don't tell me what to do. Oh no! Oh my God, my podcasting equipment is knocked over. Okay,
Oh, that was dumb.
that has to be enough because. Okay. Oh my God, why is my heart rate up after jumping for 20? Not even, it was like 18 seconds. That felt good though.
It does feel good.
Okay, what else?
Again, can't do it for very long.
No.
But a great release.
Oh,
Just
okay.
channel your inner 3-year-old.
We don't have to set a timer for this, but let's just do it for a couple of seconds. I don't actually want to use that pillow. Grab a pillow. We're going to scream into it, okay? I don't think they'll hear it. But I mean, I'm going to do it loud, but I'm going to do it into the pillow.
Yes.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Set. Woo! That was great. You really like kind of did like a lower register. I went for the shriek.
You did go for the shriek. I was in character.
But like you could do that a number of times. Like you could do like a certain set of those.
Yeah. Like into a pillow, just let her rip. Because it really does kind of muffle it. Your neighbors won't complain too much. I know that kind of hurts.
Yeah, it did kind of hurt. Okay, another thing that you could do is something that our energy healer, Heidi Dupree, taught us, which is vocal intonations. I don't actually know if that's what it's called. That's just what I think of it as.
I think
Maybe
it is, but...
So it's like screaming. It's like scream singing, sort of.
It's like a chant.
It's like you pick a note and you just really loudly, like, kind of sing, scream a note until you run out of breath. You want to try it?
Yeah.
I guess I'll start because then we'll be doing different notes.
Yeah.
And it'll be awkward. Okay. Take a deep breath. All right, I'm not going to keep doing that until I run out of breath. I could do that for a very long time. So basically, you take a deep breath, you do that, and then you run out of breath, and then you just do it like 2 or 3, 4 times. Like do it until like you're just, it's like you're literally pushing the energy out of you.
It's a really good thing to do in the car.
In the shower or
when
something.
You're alone. And
any of these things are great to do alone, or else you might look like a crazy person.
Yeah, but someplace that's just like enclosed where you can just, because if you're afraid of, oh, is the neighbor going to hear me, or is my
I feel like we might get the cops called on us
whatever.
today because they're going to think there's a domestic happening here based on everything.
But wherever you can go where you don't have to put any sensors on yourself, which is why I love the car.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing around you. It's just you in a car driving around. Nobody can hear you. Or if they do, who cares? You're going to pass in 30 seconds.
Beating the steering wheel feels really good.
Sure, that's
sometimes. Good. Not while you're driving. You don't want to accidentally like veer off the road or something. Okay, we got at least one more. And I think we've done everything except this one.
I think that's right.
We'll see if we've missed anything. About. Okay. The last thing is we're going to rant. I'm going to rant. And you have to set a timer for at least a minute. And you're going to see how hard it is to rant for a minute. Kristen wouldn't do it because she said she couldn't. I have to actually be keyed up about something to even... I'm not keyed up. I'm making something up and I'm going to rant about it.
I knew you could easily do that.
Okay, here's your timer.
Do you have a topic or you?
Yes, I do have a topic. You guys are going to think this is real. This is not something that has happened to me. I am expressing this on behalf of womankind.
Oh, great. Okay, let's hear it. And go.
I cannot believe this lousy ass motherfucker, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to have to curse during this, ghosted me. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry. You are not tall enough, fit enough, have enough hair to pull that off, but somehow you think you can do that to me? What is it about women and men? I don't understand the fact that I am a single, attractive, very successful woman. I own my own house. I own my own car. I have a great job. I have a lot of friends. My family loves me. I am smart as a motherfucking whip. And you want to know what? If I were a man, I could marry someone I met tomorrow, the following week, if I wanted to. But because I'm a woman, somehow what would make me the most successful of any man possible? Oh, I'm not done. We're hitting a minute. I'm not even close to done. Somehow what makes me successful as a woman makes me, or what would make me successful as a man makes me off-putting as a woman. And I think that that's absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that I'm getting treated like that is beyond the beyond. All right, I'll stop. I could have kept going.
Done. You know, when you are just pissed off about something, it feels so good. It just feels so good to say all the things that you wouldn't probably actually say to another human being, but they're in your head. Get them out.
Oh, yeah.
Get
You'd
them
be
out.
thinking all of those things.
Yes. Just say it all. Rant it all. It is such a release. Truly. And if you need to remind yourself later, because if you're afraid you're going to slip back into sadness, record it. Record it and listen to it a little later when you need a reminder about like, this was not cool. This was not right. No, I reject this.
Yes. I think that was our list.
We're not saying that's all the things you can possibly do, but
that was good.
The demonstration we wanted to give you of many, many possibilities that you can try to just get it out of your system.
Feels good.
Feels great.
I feel great.
I do too. I wasn't
feel
even
like
angry.
I could do more about that.
But
I started getting angry when I ranted on behalf of women everywhere who have been ghosted by men who, not that anyone should ghost, but just men who have no right to ghost.
I think no one has.
That's what I'm saying. No one has the right, but then there are people who really don't have the right. Yeah, and I'm like, you think that you have the right? What gave you the right? See, I'm not even done.
Have a whole episode just ranting about this.
We do have Rachel rant.
That's true.
That's why I love to rant. It gets it out, guys. Like,
it's in there. It's all in there anyway. So we're just giving you a lot of different options to get it out in a healthy way. And what I love about all of these is that they're short. I mean, we just demonstrated each of these for a minute or less.
Yeah.
That was it. And it's huge. You can even tell we weren't even angry starting this episode, but I already feel a release just from acting some of those things out. If you're actually really feeling pent up and angry, within a few minutes, you can have a huge release of that. And you can prove to yourself that wasn't that scary. That wasn't that bad. I stomped around for a few minutes. I yelled. I screamed into a pillow. I beat a pillow. And I feel better, not worse. So a lot of times people who are afraid of anger, they're afraid if I give into it, it's just going to go on and on and on.
No, that's
and I'm going to get consumed by like a big fire of anger. And actually, I couldn't even beat a pillow for 30 seconds.
Well, and the thing is, it's actually so ironic because it's going on and on because you're not expressing it. Not because you are expressing it.
Exactly.
It's going on because you won't let it out.
So we want you to prove to yourself that getting it out is actually a lot faster and it feels a lot better.
Healthy and fun.
It is kind of fun.
It's kind of fun to get it out. So have we sold you on anger? This was an infomercial. I feel like we did a great job.
I hope some people have paused and gone and done some of their own anger releasing.
I hope that they will, at least after this, go do that. Mm-hmm. Like, pick one and just do it. Even if you're not that angry, even if you're sad. I actually think this is a great way to get out of sadness. Not as a way to avoid your sadness, because sometimes it's okay to be feeling sad. But if you're like kind of sick of yourself, this is great because you can't be angry and sad at exactly the same moment. So it helps you, at least for a minute, get out of whatever stuck feeling you're in.
Yes, and get a little bit of like a fire under you. Of like, you know what? No, I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm ready to motivate myself. And sometimes the best way to do that is to get angry.
So, okay, if you want help working through this, then obviously consider joining us for Getting Over People Pleasing, because we do talk about rage and processing anger.
And if you liked this, where we gave you some very actionable things to do to practice anger, that's a big part of what we do in the course, is give you actionable ways. Here are specific things that you can be doing to start breaking your people-pleasing habits. And we have some accountability built in.
Yeah, we make you commit to things every week that you're going to do that are a little bit uncomfortable.
And we ask you to share them, and you're holding each other accountable. And it's a whole bunch of people who are struggling with the same thing, who are committed to taking some steps to overcoming it. And we're doing it together, and we're going to actually do it. We're not just going to talk about it.
So we're having people sign up between now and next Friday, the 28th. Remember, if you also want to add on a single session, you can add on a single session. It's going to be a lot, it's going to be a cheaper version of a single session than we would ever charge anybody else. And it's going to go for a month. And it's only like, really it's probably only like a couple hours a week that you need to be able to commit to it in order to feel like you're making progress. It's not really a big lift or it's not a huge ask. You're going to be emotionally kind of getting into it, but time-wise, it's not actually going to take up a lot of your time.
This is not going to take up more than, I don't know,
a couple hours a week of your time.
1 or 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we hope to see some of you guys in there. Again, you have from today, you can sign up today if you're ready to go.
Right. We're waiting
for
you.
And you have through next Friday.
And then we're going to get started on Monday the 31st.
That's right.
So, okay. Link to that is in the episode notes, or you can go to clarityonfire.com. Getting Over People Pleasing is in the Work With Us tab. It's not hard. Our website is very simple.
Yep.
I don't even need to tell you where it is. You could find it because you're a smart person. You could read about it and you could decide if you want to do it. You could add a single session if you want to. And we will see some of you in there. And of course, if some of you did it already or are a current client and want to join us, just email us. If you want to like, hey, I know I can still log in, but I kind of want to like go through it with you guys again. I want to get the emails every week. I want to like kind of feel like I'm participating and I've already done it, or you're a current client and you want to do it, just email us and we'll
contact@clarityonfire.com.
Yeah. Or
one of our emails if you
are already emailing us on a regular
Right.
basis, and we'll add you to the list. So this was fun.
This was fun.
I love.
I want to do more demonstration episodes now.
I don't know what we can demonstrate.
I don't know.
But that who knows? Now that we've done it, we can open the doors up to even more weird demonstrations.
Let us know if you loved it or hated it. Don't let us know if you hated it. Just let us know if you loved it.
Hey, if you let me know you hated it, you're opening yourself up to my anger. So just know that. And you know what? If that is comfortable to you, if that's a challenge
Love
to you,
it.
then all right. You asked for it. And then
please let us know if this resonated with you or if you tried one and how it felt. We want to hear your experiences.
What is today? The 21st? So we will be back on Tuesday with, I don't know. I think it'll be a Magic 8 Ball episode. I'm not sure what it will be yet, but we'll bring back something cool
Okay.
next Tuesday.
See you then.
Okay. Bye.